Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as he does every Friday on the show. His name is Mike Reyes. He's from Cinemablend.com. Usually we talk about movies, but we got into a very good beer conversation, and I was like, shut up, Mike, so we could talk about this and record it at the same time. Okay, to bring you all up to speed, we were talking about Sam Adams, Dennis Leary, and Cranberry Ale or whatever, right?
Yeah, there's a great bit. I think it was on No Cure for Cancer. There's a great Dennis Leary bit where he's talking about how he was desperate for beer during a hockey playoff one year. And this is like back in the 90s. And Sam Adams used to do like those Christmas packs. Well, they still do them, but they used to have this really horrible cranberry ale in there. At least I think it's horrible. And then Dennis Leary talking about how that was the only beer in there. He takes one sip and flips the hell out because it's disgusting.
That's right.
And that got us to talking about the various holiday beers.
My wife, at some point, I said something about it, so she ended up starting to buy Sam Adams beer. We usually have some sort of Sam Adams in the house because I don't drink near as much as I used to. And back then I drank a lot of Coors Light and Bud Light or Bud Heavy or whatever. But I started drinking the Sam Adams, and listen, they don't sponsor us in any way, shape, or form, but I got to tell you, man, fall through winter, whatever beer they put out, I pretty much like.
Oh, yes. I love their pumpkin ale. Their the Sam Oktoberfest is pretty good. They're a really good big beer. Like, they're a good meat and potatoes beer that has some pretty good diversification. I mean, I'm not a beer snob. I will still drink that. I have a fondness for breweries, especially because there's quite a few breweries in Jersey that have opened up and done really good work.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kane Brewery and Alternate Ending right there, just to name a couple. But Sam Adams is still a very good, solid beer, especially when it comes to just the regular, not the wildly flavored beers. Like, I had their summer ale a couple nights back, and that's always been, that's like a really good beer for a hot day.
Yeah. That's like
Shawshank Redemption material there.
There was one, someone pointed out to us, it was a drink, it was actually my friend Ashley. You take a summer shanty, fill up half a pint glass with it, then you put lemonade in it, and then 3 or 4 drops of bitters.
Oh.
It's amazing.
That sounds really good.
It's damn amazing is what it is. So, but anyways, no, the whole Sam Adams winter beer stuff, like the winter lager, I love the fall stuff, and you brought up pumpkin ale, and if you could find a good pumpkin beer, they're really good. Most of them are bad. Okay. We found, my wife and I, we were at an Oktoberfest, and we found a pumpkin beer that we really like, and it's really hard to find. It's like Buffalo Bill's Pumpkin Ale or something like that.
Would you drink me? Drink me.
You damn right I would.
Drink me hard.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me on the line to talk about movies. All right, let's get to it. New releases this week. Where are we starting, Mike?
Well, we've got just a quick reminder before we dive into the big release of this week. The Gray Man will be on Netflix this week. If you have not listened to our show from last week, I do gush about that movie. I also have the review on Cinemablend.com. But, if you didn't happen to go see it in the theater, I highly recommend you do. But if you just want to kick back on Netflix, it starts on Friday, the 22nd, the day you will probably be, or you may be hearing this.
Yeah, listen, let's all be honest here. We're recording on a Thursday. It's the 21st right now.
Means nothing anymore.
This is a message from the past.
Yeah. Oh, and don't do that thing. Or do that thing, depending on which thing you're thinking of.
Do that thing, except harder.
Go ahead and do that thing you do.
Oh, that's great. All right.
Anyway.
So, yes. What's our new movie this week?
Nope.
No, I mean, what's our new movie this week?
Nope.
Dude,
nope.
Do the movie.
I am so glad you played along with that. That is who's on first will always be one of the best jokes in the universe. But putting that aside, and the shenanigans, this week's big movie is Jordan Peele's Nope. It is his third film after directing such hits as Get Out and Us. And he comes back with yet another. All right, just a small note. Some of these movies have such awkward titles when it comes to writing, like Nope. When you're writing coverage for it, like Nope. Okay, yeah. That's very specific, and you really have to have something to help you nail the stake in the ground in order to actually like be able to gain traction on things like that. Because then there's also the Predator prequel comes out next week on Hulu. It's called Prey. Predator is not even mentioned in the title, and it's like, how am I going to sell this in a headline? But, you know, something like Jordan Peele, who also he wrote and directed the film. With someone like Jordan Peele, the aura of his career sort of circulates around movies like this, and that helps sell it a lot. And Nope is his latest mysterious premise, and it is on the surface about some sort of presence lurking in the clouds, making life hell for a brother and a sister, played by Daniel Kaluuya, who was also in Out and Black Panther, and Keke Palmer, who was recently heard as part of the voice cast of Lightyear. Their fathers recently died. They're trying to figure out what to do with the family business, as they're a Hollywood horse stable.
Yeah.
And then things start happening around their farm, and they're trying to figure out what it is and capture it on film so that way they can prove its existence and, you know, make some sort of mark in the world. And I am definitely being vague about this because I think you need to go into this as cold as possible. If you've seen the trailer, it doesn't give anything big away. In fact, I think the trailer does a really good job of misdirecting people in certain spots.
Okay.
But it is a movie that you're going to need to have time to sit down and think over, because after I first got out of the movie, it didn't gel as much as I wanted it to. And then I realized the problem was it was because I wanted it to. And what I think Jordan Peele has done here is he's made a movie that examines, he said that the big kernel of an idea that he started this whole film out with was the subject of spectacle. And basically in the movie, you see it range through anything from media coverage to theme park attractions to even just the entertainment industry. Like basically spectacle is the subject that he is dissecting with this movie.
Okay.
The plot is basic, but it's not basic in a bad way, because what I think Jordan Peele's trying to do here, and, you know, it's putting on the critic hat and everything. What I think he's trying to do is he's trying to invite the audience to engage in the subject of what do we see as spectacle, how do we consider spectacle, and how close are we willing to get to it before we're in danger.
Interesting.
And it's also just a lot of fun. Like there's some really good, like the characters are richer than the story here, and I think it has to be, because again, it almost feels like Jordan Peele's inviting the audience to be a character in this movie. We're hanging out with these people. We're not just spectating. We're sort of invited to put ourselves in that scenario and think, what would I do if things were getting sucked up into the sky and I don't know why?
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. Nope.
Also, one last thing on Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
No, I was going to say, I had two things I wanted to bring up about this, because going back to you saying about being going into it as cold as possible, like I know they show like a UFO or something in the trailer. I wish they wouldn't have shown that.
It's perfectly fine that they did, because there's so much else that they need to.
All right.
There's so many other things that they need to pull apart, but I like that. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I just, like, sometimes they give away that stuff. Like, I think what's the saying about the monster, like, they'll never be able to create a monster the same as you have the one in your head, or something like that. It's scarier when they don't show things.
Well, I will tell you that they didn't show everything.
Okay.
And I think I would bet that Jordan Peele has either a clause in his contract or an agreement with Universal that he gets to approve the marketing of these movies, because 3 in a row he's done these mysterious, mystery-driven films that have brought in audiences, and then not only is it like fun to discover what's going on, but there's also a discussion component where there's discourse that is built into these films.
Yeah.
And Nope isn't as socially driven as Us. Well, it's sort of outwardly socially driven as Us or Get Out. But there is a big conversation that could be had with this, and I feel like we could do a whole show on that. But I will say, if you are going to see Nope, I highly recommend going to an IMAX theater. The best IMAX theater you can find in your area.
Okay.
Because he shot the film in IMAX film. And this was my first screening back at, there's a theater by me in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. They have like a true IMAX. Like they built the theater around the true IMAX screen, and it's one of the few that are still around here. This is the first time in a while that I felt like someone used the IMAX format, and it wasn't just, oh, we have 22% more of the screen because we're giving you more of what we filmed on the day. Like everybody, well, in case people don't know, when they shoot these movies, it's like, okay, what's in the middle viewfinder is what's going to be shown on screen, but then there's all this area that's also filmed.
Okay.
In addition to that, on the set, on the day. But with IMAX film, everything is what you see is what you get. Everything was filmed in the IMAX format, so the movie fills the screen the whole time, and it's part of the spectacle.
Okay.
And it was nice to get back to that, and I want more people to do that because Christopher Nolan's one of the only people I can think of that still films on IMAX film and still makes best use of the format. But yeah, Nope is definitely a yup. Go see it.
How many critics are using that as their tag this week? Nope is definitely a yep.
Okay, it's not just personal bias because I work at Cinemablend, but our review, Eric Eisenberg, one of our editors who reviewed the movie, I did like that he said, I'm trying to find his review here. Oh yeah, an end to Jordan Peele's win streak. Check the title. It's like,
nope.
That's a really cool way to reference the title without having to say, nope. Nope is a yup is definitely a Gene Shalit line. Like Gene Shalit back in the day would have been like, nope, more like yup. I'm going to go see this one 3 times.
You know what, real quick, and I don't want to dive too far into this because we've had the similar conversation before. I hope Jordan Peele doesn't turn into an M. Night Shyamalan.
I see. My opinion of M. Night Shyamalan's gotten better over time, especially because I've latched onto some of his work better.
Okay.
In hindsight, I mean, I revisited The Village not too long ago and fell in love with it, considering I hated it the first time. And then like Servant is a really cool show on Apple TV. Old was actually pretty solid. Like I had so much fun going to see Old, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I changed as a person, but some of his stuff I've really reevaluated, even though I'm still not a fan of Glass.
And the only reason I say that is it seemed like M. Night Shyamalan had a shtick that he was doing, and he kind of tried to stick with that, and that's what it always seemed to be. Like there always had to be some sort of, like the twist or whatever. And Jordan Peele, not the same in the twist aspect, but I feel like a lot of his movies are kind of. I don't want to say how, I don't know what the right word for it is, but I feel like if you say a Jordan Peele movie, you kind of know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
You feel like he's playing on the same team. Like Get Out and Us, again, Get Out were both very socially driven thought pieces. Nope has a social component to it, but it examines another part. It examines pop culture.
Okay.
It examines how we engage with spectacle and how we engage with trauma and the crazy overlap that those two things can have. Like it's in his wheelhouse, but he's branching out of his wheelhouse, and it's not going to work for everyone. But I think it's better to have wild swings when a studio trusts you and go for it than I'm just going to stay in the wheelhouse. I'm not going to make waves. It's like Jordan Peele still has a command over this movie, and even when I was still piecing it together and thought, I initially was like a 3.5 on it. I bumped it up to a 4.
I'll put it like this.
When I was first thinking about it, it's like
finish real quick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, it's okay. But just when I was after I first watched it, it's like, you know what? I may not have all of the answers to how I feel about this yet, but I like the movie. It is still an expertly put together movie. It is wonderfully paced. There's such wonderful performances and visuals in here. It's like technically Jordan Peele still has it, and story-wise he still has it. I just needed to take a little more time to get on the bus. Okay.
I don't sigh when a Jordan Peele movie comes out. Like I'm excited to see it still. I think that's a good way to say. Like an M. Night Shyamalan movie comes out and it's like, oh God, here we go. What's the twist going to be? Anyways.
Okay.
What?
One last note on that.
Okay.
I still remember there was that movie Devil that he produced, and it was the people trapped in the elevator. And I remember, I think they first showed the trailer at Comic-Con that year. And, or maybe it was like reports of people going to see the trailer in the theater that popped up online. But basically people were into the trailer. And then when it mentioned M. Night Shyamalan's name, there was like an audible like groan or gasp of some sort.
Okay.
And I remember those days. And I think he's trying to get away from that too.
Okay.
But it's very important, especially when you're you have such a white hot hit like Sixth Sense or Get Out.
Yeah.
And then you have to follow it up like, okay, what's the next trick? It reminds me of that old Daffy Duck bit where he's like auditioning for a talent agent and everything he's doing is not impressive. And then he does this one final blowout gag and he basically dies. And then the talent agent's like, wow, can I see that again? And then he's like, sorry, I can only do it once.
That's how I want to go out in radio. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. Did we have other new movies this week?
Not that I can – like, there's
Okay.
other new movies, but I have not seen them. Like, we also have Anything's Possible going to Amazon.
Okay.
A trans love story directed by Billy Porter from Pose.
Okay.
And I think that's the only other major release we have this week.
All right. Moving over to the world of movie news. What are we looking at this week? I know Comic-Con's going on this week, but was there any other like news stuff out there?
There is news stuff, but I will say one Comic-Con thing I will mention is Henry Cavill is apparently going to be at Comic-Con talking Superman, and people are thinking maybe he's going to announce that he's going to be in another Warner Brothers movie and he'll continue playing the role.
Okay. I mean, why? I don't see a need to recast Henry Cavill as Superman. He seems happy doing it. People seem happy watching him do it. I don't know why you'd want to upset the apple cart with that, right?
At the same time, they've taken so long to do this, and his name has been so heavily whispered playing as the new James Bond, or potential new James Bond, that, I mean, I guess since they're saying they're going to film in 2 years, there's enough time that he could maybe do a little more Warner Brothers work and then jump onto that. But I think that's, whether he does do that or not, that's going to be very key to whether he even gets an offer for James Bond.
I get you. As I'm looking at some of the stuff that's coming up, is there anything that really stands out to you?
I would like it.
What's that?
I know I would like to see Henry Cavill come back. That's all I was saying.
I would too.
I love him as Superman. But I still want that Man from U.N.C.L.E. sequel, and I want him to be James Bond. And, what I want doesn't come into the equation.
He would make a good James Bond. I'll say that right now.
Yeah. Man from U.N.C.L.E. proved it. Go see that if you haven't yet, folks. Lovely.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.
It has
Please continue.
No, that was it.
No, that was it. Fuck you.
We don't need to talk about Armie Hammer.
Army.
And that guy's house. Just that it's like, be warned, he is in the movie. But yeah.
Have you heard, are there any like big trailers or anything coming out this weekend? Or anything like rumor?
Oh, that's a good segue, sir. I think I have something for you. I definitely have something for you.
Okay.
Because since Nope is coming out this weekend, we've got 2 big trailers that are supposed to be attached. One we know one is more speculation that sounds like it's almost confirmed.
Okay.
So the trailer that we all know is coming is Halloween Ends dropped its first trailer for the October release of the end of David Gordon Green and Danny McBride's Halloween trilogy, like a sequel.
Alrighty.
So that's one of the trailers that's coming. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
It looks good.
Okay.
Like, I have been on board with these Halloween movies, and I think part of it may be because I don't hold the original as precious as others, because I've seen the first one. It's like, I'm okay with the original Halloween, but I think it's one of those movies like Blade Runner where if you see it in the wrong generation, so many other things have cribbed, knocked off, or played parody to it that it doesn't have the same effect unless you really love it. But, I acknowledge that Halloween is a classic. It is one of those horror movies that has stuck with us for so long through various sequels and what have you. And I just like seeing Jamie Lee Curtis kick Michael Myers' ass.
Over
it may
and
be
over
a
again.
We see in the trailer. Look, I just want to see Jamie Lee Curtis kick ass over and over again. It doesn't necessarily need to be Michael Myers. I mean, hell, why don't we do a True Lies like a sequel where Harry's busy, smoking cigars and having a vacation, and she goes to save the world?
Yeah, why not?
Although it would make me upset because Bill Paxton's no longer with us, and I would love for them to just throw in a gag where somehow he gets roped in again, and he pisses himself because he's so afraid. It's like, no, I know what happened the last time. Please don't do anything. And then he becomes an unwilling participant, but unfortunately that man is no longer with us, and it just...
Can I throw out you just gave me an idea for something.
Oh, throw it out.
Okay,
Throw away.
So Bill Paxton's kid was in something, wasn't he? Like Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something?
I was just about to say it was probably Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, stay with me on this, right? Go back to Aliens with, Bill Paxton and that whole group of soldiers there, right?
Yeah.
What if you did a prequel with those guys doing some military mission? Because it seemed like they'd been together for a while. It not an Aliens thing, but those soldiers story.
Oh, yeah, like seeing the Colonial Marines fighting an actual battle instead of just aliens.
Yeah, or like a special ops mission or
maybe
something.
They're on like some exact, oh, man, I want that.
I mean, that would be cool, right?
You would have to recast, because I think it would, but I think like a couple other people, I think the actor that played Apone passed away.
Yeah.
So you'd have to recast for him too, but I would follow that Colonial Marine story, definitely. The alien world is something that I'm so in love with. I would follow any side story. It's part of why I like the prequel so much.
I always think it's cool. Like, I would like to see another story in the aliens world, but not like just killer aliens. Like maybe that's a news story in the background or something, and there's something else going on.
I think that's part of what they're going to try to do with the new FX show.
Oh, really?
Because it might be more of like the Weyland-Yutani corporate wrangling, and maybe their obsession with getting their hands on this stuff.
Okay.
But
I think that may be my issue with some of the aliens movies, where, I mean, if you break it down, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. At its simplest thing, yeah, there's different stories and different characters, but it's always weird alien creature ripping apart human beings, more or less, right?
Right. But at the same time, it's almost like Jurassic World, in a sense that it's basically repeatedly showing us our hubris.
Yeah.
And why, the same thing's happening again and again. Well, maybe if you learned the lesson the first time, it would have worked, but you didn't. So here we are.
All right, I got you. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line to talk about movies and stuff. Comic-Con is going to be interesting this weekend. I'll be interested to see what Marvel comes out with. I'll be interested to see what not just Marvel, but Disney in general. We're probably going to get an Ahsoka trailer or something, or some kind of Marvel trailer this weekend, right?
Well, we'll get something, I would think, because apparently on Saturday there's a Marvel Cinematic Universe mega panel where Marvel President Kevin Feige unveils what's next in the MCU series and film.
Watch him come out and he goes, we don't know. We're just kind of making movies at this point.
Oh, man, yeah.
Paramount's going to be there. I saw there was going to be a Star Trek panel. We'll probably get a Picard Season 3 trailer, maybe Discovery, and maybe Lower Decks. I don't think they do New Worlds.
Yeah, gonna show,
what's that?
I'm sure they're not into Season 2 just yet.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds, we're probably not going to see anything. But otherwise, you'll get the
National Treasure Edge of History is going to have a panel.
Are they?
Yeah. And that's the new Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious about what they'll be doing.
Random thing on that list you sent me from Deadline. I saw that there's a Solar Opposites thing, and I'm like, that's weird.
No, it isn't.
That show just seems very niche to me.
Weird. Yeah, but that's the niche for whatchamacallit. That's the niche for Comic-Con, because Rick and Morty.
Yeah, there's a Vindicators thing that they're going to do, so that could be interesting.
They're going to do a panel on the Gremlins animated prequel they're doing. Walking Dead, of course, is coming back.
Yay, more zombies.
Bob's Burgers is there, but I know you hate Bob's Burgers, so we won't talk about that.
I don't hate Bob's Burgers, I just don't
like
watch it. God, get over it.
Whatever. Lame. You know I love you. Shut up. But there's also Warner Brothers is going to be doing something for Black Adam and Shazam: Fury of the Gods. House of the Dragon, they're doing stuff for that. Like I feel like the Comic-Con schedules, especially with San Diego's schedule, aren't as indicative of the surprises that come, because sometimes there's just like generic panel names, or you don't know what to expect. But yeah, it's like usually we find out the new stuff, big stuff, as it happens, moments after someone was in the ballroom.
Good times.
Although on a minor note, Deadpool and Deadpool 2 and Logan are going to be on Disney Plus as of Friday.
That's awesome. Interesting.
This is like the first R-rated content, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to Disney Plus. So, and I believe they were on Hulu before. So now it just really, the waters are so muddy with this, because at one point people were like, oh, they're probably just going to keep all the R-rated stuff on Hulu. And then they're saying, oh no, we're going to keep Deadpool 3 R-rated. We're bringing Daredevil back, and we promise we won't skimp out. So I'm wondering if this is like testing the waters.
Maybe.
But also there's always been this whole thing where they've talked about how there's parental controls on the international version, that you can just lock out R-rated stuff because there is no Hulu in other countries. And there's like Alien Covenant shares the same streaming platform as Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, you know what's weird though? Okay, hear me out on this. Like, if they're using that as a test for R-rated stuff on the Disney Plus platform, I don't feel like that's a good test because it's not like those movies are brand new.
But at the same time, they're popular titles that people probably like to stream.
Maybe.
So what they're probably trying to see is, okay, is our subscriber base really gonna flock to R-rated content when we lift the gates, if we lift the gates?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Because then I still think at some point down the line, Hulu might go bye-bye because Disney might want to consolidate everything into Disney Plus.
Yeah. Oh, the mighty Disney.
But that's going to depend on when or if their agreements with other networks run out and their catalog stops showing other networks' content.
All right. Well, there you have it, everybody. If anything crazy comes up, I'm sure we'll talk about it. Well, it won't be next week because I won't be here. So, yeah, enjoy Comic-Con, I guess, right?
Yeah, enjoy Comic-Con to all who celebrate and all who are there. I am not there. I want to be there, but I am not there.
Yeah, there's Mike Reyes. He's the bottom of the barrel, everybody. All right, that's going to do it for this week. Find out more.
You're cutting that! We're doing it again.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week to talk about movies. Mr. Controversy 83 on social media. And don't forget, subscribe to the podcast channel. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Mike, we'll see you.
See ya.